In a distant village where the sun warmly embraced the earth and the wind sang melodies among the palms, there lived a young woman named Zuri. She wasn't just any girl, but more like a rare flower blooming in the shadow of the forest. Zuri radiated beauty and grace. Her skin shimmered like the golden light of dawn, and her eyes sparkled like stars in the night sky. People from every corner of the village and beyond came just to witness her smile. But Zuri was loved not only for her beauty, but also for her kind heart and quiet wisdom. Her woven baskets were both sturdy and intricately decorated, and her dances told stories that made even the elders nod in respect. In this village, a tradition endured. When a girl came of age, suitors would bring gifts to win her heart. For Zuri, the most beautiful girl in the region, many suitors arrived. They brought gold, exotic fruits, and fabrics shimmering with the colors of the rainbow. Among them was a prince, the bravest and most charming young man in the village. His smile could brighten even the gloomiest days, and his courage made him a hero in everyone's eyes. Zuri's mother, a wise woman with eyes full of dreams, often said, "Zuri, my daughter, the prince is a good man. He will make you a fine husband." But Zuri would reply with a soft smile, "Mother, my heart is not ready. I'm searching for something else, something I cannot yet name." Her mother, concerned but trusting her daughter's wisdom, would sigh. Days turned to weeks, and weeks to months. Zuri still hadn't chosen a suitor, not even the prince. Each of her refusals stirred whispers in the village. Why does she keep rejecting them? What is she waiting for? People wondered aloud. The elders shook their heads in puzzlement but waited patiently. They knew Zuri wouldn't rush her decision and that her choice would come in time. Yet no one could predict the way her answer would arrive, an answer that would forever change her life and the village. The days flowed like a river, calm and unchanging. Zuri remained a bright beacon, drawing people close, yet mysterious and untouchable, like the moon. And then, one fateful day, in the midst of the bustling market, where the village came alive with colors and sounds, a stranger appeared. He was unlike any man the villagers had ever seen. His clothes were crafted from fine fabrics, the likes of which they'd never encountered, and his walk exuded confidence tinged with mystery. This was Kofi, a man from the city, whose eyes held tales of places the villagers could only dream of. Kofi's arrival sparked curiosity among the villagers. Who was this man who carried himself like a prince from a distant land? His gaze soon fell on Zuri, who was haggling over fabrics. Their eyes met, and for a moment, the lively market seemed to fall silent. Kofi approached Zuri with a grace that was both captivating and commanding. "I have traveled to many lands," he said, "but never have I seen beauty and elegance like yours." Zuri, startled by his boldness, found herself intrigued. This man was unlike anyone she had ever known, speaking of worlds she had only dreamed of. In the days that followed, Kofi became a frequent visitor to the village. He told stories of the city, where buildings reached toward the heavens and nights glimmered with countless lights. He spoke of his travels, the people he had met, and the wonders he had seen. Zuri listened, her heart alight with the curiosity she had never known before. Zuri's mother observed this new suitor with caution. "He is an outsider, Zuri," she warned. "We know nothing of his world." But Zuri, enchanted by the promise of another life, felt an undeniable pull toward Kofi. In a decision that shocked the entire village, Zuri accepted Kofi's proposal. They would marry and leave for the city. The news spread like wildfire. "Zuri is leaving us," people murmured. "She's chosen the stranger." On the eve of her departure, Zuri stood beneath the starry sky, her heart torn between the weight of leaving and the hope of what lay ahead. She was leaving behind everything she had ever known for an unknown life. It was a leap of faith into a future as enigmatic as the man she had chosen to love. Zuri and Kofi's journey to the city felt like a dream. The city was alive with sounds, lights, and colors, its energy pulsating on every corner. Skyscrapers reached into the clouds, streets buzzed with people from all over the world, and the air was filled with the aromas of exotic foods and spices. Zuri's eyes sparkled with wonder as she took in this new world, so different from her quiet village. Kofi's home in the city was magnificent, with rooms that opened to breathtaking views and walls adorned with paintings and rare artifacts. Zuri felt like a queen in a palace, with each day bringing new discoveries. Kofi showered her with care and attention, and for a time, it seemed their life was perfect. But as the novelty of city life began to fade, Kofi revealed another side of himself. It started with small things. A sharp word here, an impatient gesture there. Zuri, who had always been surrounded by kindness, began to feel a growing unease. She tried to understand and adapt, blaming it on work stress or the fast pace of city life. Then came the first act of violence. It shattered her world. Kofi, the man who once spoke of love and dreams, showed a harsh and frightening nature. He yelled at her for small mistakes and sometimes raised his hand when she tried to protest. Zuri began living in constant fear, dreading each day and every wrong move she might make. When she called her mother, her voice trembled, but she tried her best to sound calm. "I'm fine, Mama," she said, holding back tears. She couldn't tell her mother the truth, that the man she had chosen and the life she had dreamed of had turned into a nightmare. Her mother, sensing something amiss, often asked, "Are you happy, Zuri?" And every time Zuri, hiding her pain, replied, "Yes, Mama, I'm happy." It was a lie that weighed heavily on her heart. Gradually, her once bright eyes lost their shine. The city, which had once seemed so full of wonder, became her prison. She missed the laughter of her friends, the warmth of her village, and the simplicity of her old life. Deep down, she knew she had to make a choice that would change her life again. One evening, while Kofi was away on another trip, Zuri sat alone, overwhelmed by sadness. It was then that clarity struck her. She had made a mistake. The life she had chosen with Kofi was not her destiny. She longed for the love and safety of her village, the life she had left behind. In that moment of realization, Zuri made a bold decision. She would go back to her village, to her roots, to herself. The decision brought both fear and relief. Fear of the unknown, of how the village would receive her, and relief at the thought of freedom and being true to herself. With a heavy yet hopeful heart, Zuri began her journey home. The road was long, and each mile brought a flood of memories. She thought of her mother, her friends, and the life she had left behind. Fear and doubt gnawed at her, but stronger was her desire to return home. As she approached the village, her heart raced. How would they welcome her? Would her mother forgive her? Would the villagers understand? The sight of familiar landscapes, the hills where she had played as a child, and the river that lulled her to sleep at night, brought bittersweet emotions. Time seemed to stand still. Everything was as it had been. The old baobab tree, the huts, the children playing in the dust. But Zuri felt different. She walked slowly toward her mother's house. When her mother saw her, she ran to her and embraced her tightly. The hug was filled with love, relief, pain, and forgiveness. Tears flowed as mother and daughter clung to each other. Words were unnecessary in that moment. Zuri apologized, her words a mixture of regret and hope. "Mama, I was lost, but I found my way back. Can you forgive me?" Her mother, tears streaming down her face, replied, "My child, there is nothing to forgive. You are home, and that is all that matters." The villagers gathered around, their faces a mix of surprise and joy. Zuri had returned. The girl who had left to chase a dream was back to embrace reality. She spoke to them, her voice steady but emotional, sharing her journey, her mistakes, and the lessons she had learned. And so, Zuri's story came to an end. This tale teaches us the importance of self-discovery, the value of our roots, and the strength found in community and forgiveness. It shows that true contentment often lies in the simple and familiar, and that resilience and learning from our mistakes are keys to personal growth and happiness. If you enjoyed this story, please like and subscribe to the channel for more tales like this one. See you next time.